Okay. Sorry about that. Yes. Okay, I said Sunesis DLP is a dynamic full service. Okay, no, law practice, description of law practice series. Law practice series by Sunesis DLP is an engaging web series designed to provide practical insight into diverse career paths and essential elements of law practice. This initiative offers aspiring and seasoned legal professionals a platform to explore the realities of various legal fields, gain actionable knowledge, and navigate the complexities of the profession with confidence. And we can say that it has happened in the past webinars that we've actually anchored. So, introduction of Sunesis DLP. Sunesis DLP is a dynamic full-service law firm with offices in Lagos, Nigeria. Our dedicated team of seasoned legal practitioners offers comprehensive legal solutions across various practice areas with a particular focus on dispute resolution and corporate commercial law. We are committed to delivering tailored strategic counsel to both corporate and individual clients, ensuring excellence, integrity, and transparency in all our services. Our mission is to provide efficient and effective legal solutions, evolving into a formidable legal institution with global recognition and relevance. So I'll be introducing our host for today's webinar. I'll start with Ms. Uche Ogunedo Akingbade. Uchenna Ogunedo Akingbade is a seasoned legal practitioner and a founding partner of the law firm, Sunesis DLP, with experience in dispute resolution, commercial, and real estate law. Ms. Uchenna sits on the boards of several private companies and NGOs. She is a notary public of Nigeria with an LLM from the University of Birmingham and an LLB from the University of Jos. She's a member of Chartered Institute of Arbitrators UK, a member of the Association of Professional Negotiators and Mediators, and an associate member of the Business Recovery and Insolvency Practitioners Association of Nigeria, that's BRIPAN. Beyond law, Ms. Uchenna is a skilled project manager with years of experience managing telecom establishments all over Nigeria. She is passionate about nation building and criminal justice reform, actively providing pro bono legal services to indigent accused persons and advocating for inmates' welfare and rehabilitation. She is a co-opted member of the 2023 to 2025 Executive Committee of the Nigerian Bar Association, Lagos branch, where she serves as the liaison officer to the In-House and Government Council Forum. She has also served and is serving the branch in many other capacities. Welcome, Ms. Uchenna. Our second host for today is Ms. Oluwatoyin. Ms. Oluwatoyin Asada. Okay, sorry, just a minute. Okay. Ms. Oluwatoyin Asada is a lawyer, speaker, and author. She's the managing partner at Sunesis DLP, a graduate of the University of Lagos and the Nigerian Law School. She began her career as a legal assistant at the High Court of Justice Ibadan during her NYSC. She later worked as an associate at Kayode Oduba and Co. before founding Sunesis Legal Practitioners, which merged in 2023 to form Sunesis DLP. She's a member of ICSAN. She has an expertise in business law, corporate transactions, dispute resolution, intellectual property, and company secretarial services. She is also the author of Beyond Handshakes, Turning Your Contacts into Gold. Outside work, she enjoys reading, writing, watching movies, and spending quality time with loved ones. She's happily married with 2 children. So they'll take it over from there.
Thank you, Timileyin.
Toyin, over to you, please.
Good afternoon, everyone. I hope we are enjoying the sunny day, especially if you're in Lagos, Nigeria with me. I hope our day is going well and our week is starting out pretty well. Thank you all so much for joining us on yet another law practice series. This is something that we started a couple of months, and it has become something that has become an asset to the legal profession. And I'm so glad that you've all joined us for today's very special edition, which commemorates the International Women's Month. And we have distinguished speakers in the legal profession, and we took our time to carefully select eminent personalities in the legal profession who are in different spheres. So from the corporate space to the dispute resolution, we looked at different age groups so that we can capture the essence of the different aspects of the female gender, in the legal profession. And so thank you all so much for joining us today. So without further ado, we'll be introducing our very first speaker. My partner, Ushina, would be doing us the honor of moderating that session, and then we'll continue with our other speakers. We'd like to welcome our speakers. I want to say a very big thank you for joining us and being here. Thank you. Over to you, Chi.
Thank you, Toyin. Thank you to everyone who's joined. Thank you to our esteemed speakers for honoring us with your presence. So our first speaker for today is Mrs. Temitope Hassan. Temitope is just a moment. Okay. Temitope is a multidisciplined lawyer. She holds a bachelor's degree in law from the London South Bank University, UK. A bachelor's degree in insurance from the University of Lagos, Akoka, and a master's degree in business administration from the Obafemi Awolowo University, Ile-Ife. She joined Dangote Sugar Refinery PLC in January 2020 as the company secretary and legal advisor from UBA Pensions Custodian Limited, where she was also the company secretary and legal advisor, and previously the head of company secretariat of Sky Bank PLC, now Polaris Bank Limited. She started her legal career with the law firm of Olaniwun Ajayi LLP. She previously worked with Industrial and General Insurance Company Limited and other law firms, where she garnered considerable experience. With over 20 years work experience, she has developed valuable cognitive skills and expertise in company secretariat practice, legal drafting, dispute resolution, corporate governance advisory, investor relations, pension administration, regulatory compliance, and corporate services. She has attended several courses overseas and within Nigeria. She has advised boards on governance over the years and has been involved in major transactions such as mergers and acquisitions, schemes of arrangements, and company restructures. She is a certified trainer and an accredited mentor of the National Mentoring Pilot Project, UK, and a fellow of the Institute of Chartered Secretaries and Arbitrators of Nigeria. She's a powerful profile. Welcome our first speaker, Temitope Hassan, the company secretary and legal advisor of Dangote Sugar Refineries PLC. Welcome, Ma. Please, can we see you? I hope she's still on the call.
She's here. She's right here. She's been here all along, smiling at us.
Oh, okay. Okay, I missed it. Okay. I can see her now. I can see her now. Welcome, ma'am. How are you doing today?
Very well, fine, thank you. And thanks for the invite.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much. We just had to tap into your, what will I say? Expertise, your fully loaded expertise. You can see that she's done everything. She's been an external counsel, she's worked at Olaniwun, and then she's gone in-house. She's been in several organizations in-house. So we're really interested to know about your story. So just to put more context, Law Practice Series is a storytelling, has a storytelling feel to it. So everybody should just relax. We are just here to interact with one another and just to have a good time while learning from our esteemed speakers. So ma'am, we want to hear from you. Tell us about yourself. Tell us about your legal career, how you started, how you ended up as the company secretary of Dangote Sugar Refineries PLC. So give us a little bit of background and then tell us where you are now.
Okay, thank you. Well, you just read out my profile, so maybe I shouldn't go back into all that and just move
Yes.
straight in how I found myself as an in-house. So when I started my law journey, really, my career in a law firm, I thought I would probably end up on the bench. I remember having meetings and interviews with my managing partner and, spoke about what you would like to do in 5 years, 10 years. And I said, oh, I'm sure I'll go to the bench. And everyone, felt, oh, she speaks like a judge. She looks like someone that would do well, on the bench. And that's what I thought. But, along the way, you have different experiences, different circumstances, and then sometimes you find yourself in a place where you probably didn't think you would be, but where it probably fits you very well. So how I found myself as an in-house was that I just had a baby. I had a very, very busy portfolio in the law firm where I was working at that time. And it was very difficult for me to cope. Law firms then went as flexible as they are now. And the maternity leave was very, very strict, very rigid. So I had to return to work when my baby was just about a month old. So I either had to return to work immediately with the baby who was just about a month, or that was the end of the job. So I took a decision to stay with the baby and win the baby. And so after that, I felt it was important to be at home with my baby. So I took some time off, a few months. I win the baby and then I started looking for a job. So I went from, good, the bad, and the ugly. I had some very horrible experiences. Some of the experiences, if I tell you today, it will sound unbelievable. There was a law firm where I worked in those months when I was just before I transited to in-house. And you had to sign a register to go to the toilet, to get up from your seat, literally. You had to work on Saturdays. And the environment was just, was very toxic. You couldn't take a file home. So even if you had to be in court at 9 a.m., you have to, first of all, come into the office with all the traffic. You have to come into the office, Lagos Island, look for a parking space, get the file, go to court, look for parking space, come back to the office, it was very tough. So someone introduced me to a bank. I said, maybe you should try in-house. I think banks pay very well. And in those days, banks seem to pay so well, Some banks even paid, some lawyers' annual salaries in a month. So I gave it a shot. And at that time, I was interviewing in 3 banks. And within a very short while, the 2 banks, they invited me they gave me employment. So I chose one. And in my decision to choose one of them, I looked at the fact that, they had it had a very nice environment. You know, it had a kind of place where you feel is a great place to work. So I chose that over the other bank that didn't have such such a good HMO scheme, and you won't believe it, didn't have a good parking arrangements. So I chose one of the banks. And the good thing then also was that the bank I chose, my boss at that time, the company secretary legal advisor, was someone that had shared values with me because we had worked in the same law firm, even though it wasn't at the same time, but we had the same professional ethics, we had the same culture, we had the same shared values. So with that, it was easy to quickly climb up the corporate ladder. And within a short time, I was able to, apart from, honing my legal skills, I was able to also learn about the new environment, the new industry. I was quick to learn about governance, quick to learn about, that was a new topic at that time. I was quick to learn about the banking industry, and every day became very exciting. And there was a lot of inclusivity for even the children of staff. So it was actually a great place to work. And that's how I found myself in the law firm, as an in-house and transiting from the law firm.
That's a very interesting story. And like I said, here on the Law Practice series, we kind of give it a conversational feel. And we also try for it to be as practicable as possible. I found interesting that the story you give about the law firm where you worked. May I ask how long you lasted at that law firm?
The one where we had to sign the register.
Yes.
That one I had very short episode. It was about a month. And I remember then my husband would think, I endured that job because it was beginning to think, oh, maybe you don't want to work. Maybe you just want to stay at home and look after the baby. By the way, that baby is now in university. So
Wow.
yeah, so I endured the job. And then when it was a May 1st, I had to go to work on May 1st. And I think at that point he said, I think you really don't like this job. I said, yes, I don't like this job. And then that was how, the subsequent interviews came.
This story kind of reminds me of the last place where I worked under somebody. After that, I've been on my own prior to joining forces with my partner Toyin here. So when I had my first child, and so for the men here, this is a discussion for both men and women because we want you to understand some of the peculiarities that women go through. Some of these things that we go through, men may not go through them, but you're part of the process. You work in the law firms, you employ us, you marry us, you're our friends. So it's important for you to understand some of these things that we go through so that you can better help us to help you and help the entire system. So I had my first child. I didn't go back to the law firm where I was working before. It was a good experience, but I felt that I needed more. So I took some time off, some months off, I think about 4 months off. And I had my son in August. So I took the rest of the year off. And by January, I felt like I was ready to go back to work. So I started looking, and then I found this place that seemed okay, and it was really close to my house. And we had an interview. As at then, there was no hybrid work, but we were offered, the proprietor of the firm was a female, and she said, we could actually consider having hybrid work and all that. That if you finish doing your work, you can still take it home and work from there. So we had a really good interview, and I thought we had established a rapport. I think we actually did, but I think we misunderstood. The way I started my practice, I started from a very flexible background where I didn't have to clock in, clock out. We were given a high level of independence. And through the rest of the remaining places that I worked, I didn't work in so many places. I worked in just that law firm that I said I didn't go back to after I had my son. So in all, I've worked in 3 law firms in total prior to focusing on my own practice. So when I started, I found that it was very regulated. I mean, there's nothing wrong with regulation, right? But remember the background that I'm coming from, we're very independent and allowed to do our own thing. So from the get-go, I knew that it wasn't going to work because I already had a client base that I was servicing, and I saw that this would not even give me room to do that. You stayed a month, I stayed 4 days, but I knew it wasn't going to work. And I think that's the shortest stint. I stay wherever I work, I stay for a while. So I met her and I said, I'm very sorry, Ma. I think we probably misunderstood each other. I think you misunderstood the level of flexibility that I would need, and I misunderstood the level of free hand that the firm was willing to give. I'm very sorry for every inconvenience, and I do not want to be a nuisance. I know that this is not going to work out. So please, let's just end it now before we go far. And she understood. And she said, okay, no problem. So I understand the 1 month stint, even though I'm an advocate, generally an advocate of wait it out and see how it goes. But really and truly, if it's not going to work, I believe that from day one, you know that it's not going to work. And the shorter you keep it, the better, if you're really sure that it's not going to work. So I just thought to chip that in there to say I understand. So I might ask, what would you say are some of the key lessons that you have learned on your journey to becoming, okay, you joined as a company secretary, but while working your way to that position, what were some of the key lessons that you learned having transitioned from the law firm to the in-house space? What are some of the key lessons that you learned that helped you navigate the transition and helped you settle in, helped you know that, oh, this is where I'm supposed to be? What are some of those key lessons?
Yeah, thank you. So a law office is quite different from some corporate environment. So in a law office, you're all lawyers. Your boss is a lawyer, and the understanding is it's easier to present your case, to air your views, and all that. So, but in a corporate organization, there are many layers of, funny enough, you might think, oh, lawyers are very organized, but when you move on to a corporate job, you find out that there are actually layers of, there's a proper organogram, there are governance structures, layers of approvals and all that. So you have to learn, that new part. So then I learned from the people working there. You need to, first of all, humble yourself, be friendly, be pleasant, earn their trust. And the way to earn trust is really when you're able to deliver on your assignments, you're able to give good legal advice, you are able to understand the business. So when your employer sees that you are interested in the business and you understand the business, then you earn their loyalty, and you find it easier to settle into the job. Because you must be, you can't just be, just a lawyer working in isolation. No, you have to be part of the organization. So you learn the business. Now I work in Dangote Sugar Refinery. I'm almost a sugar expert. So I know what it means to get the sugar from the cane onto the table. I know what it means to, the processes of the raw sugar into the refined sugar. I know what the supply chain issues are. I know what sales is like, competition, the regulators in that in the industry. And this is all part of understanding the business. I wouldn't go for a board meeting or a management meeting without actually understanding what is up for discussion, what is on the agenda. So all these things have helped me to navigate, into the in-house space. And of course, I learned from my colleagues. You must be humble to learn from everyone. Even the youngest person has something you would learn from. I've learned from my colleagues. I've learned from, everyone, even people of outside my organization. Thank you.
Interesting. So, a quick question that I ask is, are there times that you find that the business decisions or business policies of your organization, should I say, conflict with your obligations? Yes, to legal obligations or your professional obligations as a member of the MBA. Are there times that you find that happen, and how are you able to navigate such situations?
Okay, so yes, day to day, you have to balance, you have to balance the obligations. One simple one is, I report functionally to the board, administratively to my CEO. So even that has a balancing act. But I do get your point. Even deeper than that, sometimes the business wants to take a decision, and that decision maybe may even incur a fine, or maybe it's not a perfect practice, not a good practice, but maybe in the circumstances is the best practice. So, sometimes I have to remove my legal hat and I have to wear the business hat. So sometimes you take a decision on business. So far, it's nothing leaning onto fraud. It's okay to take a business decision. So I don't want to be a business spoiler. A lot of business people look at lawyers, oh, no, don't even call, they'll ruin this business. Oh, they would imagine a lot of imaginary legal risk and all that. True, we are there to guide management and guide the board on the legal risk, but we do understand that sometimes the business has to take a call. So yes, it is difficult to balance conflicting obligations, but so far it's nothing to do with illegality, fraud, and all that. Then we can always manage, we can bend the rule without breaking the rule.
Thank you. Thank you. Then I'll ask again. I don't know. I mean, I don't know what your internal organizational structure looks like, but you're in the refining space. It sounds like a very masculine terrain. So, what's your organization like in terms of gender balance, and how do you navigate as a woman? And what are some of those policies? I mean, you told us how you were given just 1 month maternity leave at a law firm where you were working. So what are some of the steps that you have taken as the company secretary and legal advisor to this huge company? Okay, the question is maybe like 3 or 4 in one. Number one, what's the gender balance looking like in your organization? How have you been able to navigate as a woman? Maybe it's because we are looking from the outside in, we think there is a masculine terrain. And what have you done in your capacity as company secretary, legal advisor, to try to promote
the people who
promote
them on social media and clap for them when they make the mess of them.
to try to promote gender parity and to try to promote gender parity and equitable opportunities?
All of those, I don't know.
Okay, thank you. That's a very interesting question. So I'll start from the second question, and then I'll go back to your first question. So now what my company has done is that 2 years we're involved in something called Nigeria to Equal. And that was an initiative by the NGX, that's the Nigerian Stock Exchange, and AFC. So it had to do with, the objective was to try to remove the disparity in gender, more like gender, I won't say equality, equity, gender equity, to promote gender equity. So Dangote as a group, we subscribed to this, and I was one of the champions. I'm the ambassador for Dangote Sugar Refinery on this project. It ended last year. It was between 2022 and 2024. So we were to commit to some sustainable goals to remove this gender parity. So one of the decisions we took as a group was that you won't believe this, we actually initiated a creche inside the work premises. So we had a creche inside one of our work premises. So with this, and it was free, totally free. So the nursing mothers could come to work with their babies, and there was a friendly room where there's a nursing room. They had toys, and it was well staffed. So those were one of the that's one of the premium initiatives of this. We also had scholarship for the female child. We had series on educating female-owned businesses that were distributors of some of our products to, teach them about financing, etc. So we were very active in this, and I was the champion for Dangote Sugar. Now you say
That's
that.
very good.
Yeah, thank you. So in a large corporation like this, yes, it looks like a male-dominated space. Yes, this is true. Just like with any corporation, any mega corporation, it is male-dominated. So we're working our way to gender parity, removing the gender parity. So we have between 2022 and now, we've moved from 20% female board to 40%. In senior management, the improvement hasn't been so good, but it's always something to consider when recruiting. There's always something to consider. There's always something like a preference given to a female that has the requisite qualification. So yes, Dangote Sugar and Dangote as a group is doing a lot in this space. The chairman is very, very passionate about this. We've had even our gender International Women's Week, we had series of events to commemorate the week. And you also asked about the third one. What was the third one? I think I've put everything together.
How are you navigating as a female in that space?
Okay, so yeah, so as a
how
female
are you balancing
in
the power dynamics, office politics, and all that as a female?
So as a female, each time I can air my views and my voice can be heard, I would always support, I'll always support initiatives where the female will be showcased, and I would always be part of the people celebrating successes, in the female gender. Anytime there's a success at work, yes, we'll celebrate it. And females are more empathetic by nature, more compassionate. So we try to, anytime we have management committees, we try to balance it out and have females there so that there will be like a mom, there will be like a sister to lend that kind of gentle side to every discussion. So these are some of the things that we've done in Dangote Sugar. Thank you.
Very, very, very well. I mean, you can't do away with women, and the more women are infused into various organizations, the more progress that we'll make, because you've already said most of it. Women are more empathetic. I think we're more committed. We're more patient. There's so many things that I can say on and on, but someone says sisterhood is proud of you. Yes, we are proud of you. So I think the final question for you for now, before we'll come back to you again, is what leadership, what are some of the leadership strategies for leadership and career acceleration? There are a lot of people on this call. We have a good turnout. We have about 85 people. There are women, there are men. How can legal professionals position themselves for leadership opportunities within corporate organizations?
Okay, so I would say, first of all, that the different generations have, slightly different approaches. So the Gen Z, for instance, would view this in a different way. The Gen Zs and the millennials, a little bit different from my generation. So let me start with my generation. So for my generation, I would, apart from honing your legal skills, which is a must, continuous education is a must. Some of the things you should do is to, improve your social capital. You need to join associations, professional associations. For women, you have associations like, the NBA has sections on
MBAWS.
female. Yes, MBWS. And then you have FIDA as well, the Federation of Women Lawyers. You also have WIMBIS, not a legal organization, but organization of women that are interested in, growing business, entrepreneur and all that. So I would also recommend that. And other, professional associations such as the Society for Corporate Governance, Institute of Chartered Secretaries, etc. So joining professional organizations is a must to to accelerate your progress in the organization. So you must join. You must also form bonds with your colleagues and ex-colleagues. So if I look at ex-colleagues now, and I have a situation, there would always be someone who is a silk, there will be someone who is a judge, there will be someone who is in partisan politics, or who is in one of the major regulators. So those are the ways you would develop yourself. So, but for the Gen Zs and the and the millennials, or more of the Gen Zs, like my son, I have a son who is also a lawyer now, and initially after his call to bar, he was working with his dad. My husband is also a lawyer, so, and he would leave him at the office and go home. He would even maybe go to the gym, and he would still be back home before his dad. And when I say, why did you leave your dad at work? He say, Mom, who does that? How can you even go to work every day? Who does that? How can you be at work from 9 to 5? That doesn't make sense, Mom. So for the Gen Zs, theirs is different. So they need more of the AI tools. Not that we of course we all need AI tools now to improve our delivery, but they need more of to leverage more on technology. Their own association is not like the fiscal, I'm going for MBA week. They do more things virtually. So they need more flexible work, and those are the ways that they would accelerate their own progress. Thank you.
Wow. This has been amazing. This has been amazing. So we'll just stop you here, Ma. We'll come back. I'm sure people have comments, they have questions. The chat box has been buzzing, but we'll take our next speaker. We have such a charged panel today, so we'll take our next speaker. Toyin, over to you. Thank you, Mr. Temitope Hassan.
Thank you so much, Mrs. Temitope Hassan. This has been so insightful, and thank you for being open about your journey and sharing with us. We've learned so much already, and I just can't wait for us to, by the time we are done with it, we have a wealth of knowledge from you and all our, eminent speakers joining us today. So without further ado, it gives me great pleasure to introduce our very next speaker, on the panel today. She's someone that I've always admired, I've always respected, has been of help to me personally as a lawyer. She has done it all, from private to the public space and back to the private space, international. She's everywhere. And I'm particularly grateful to her because she literally just landed in another state, and she made it a point of duty to ensure that she joins us regardless of the logistics. So I'm really grateful to her. So as I'm reading her profile, I want you to give her all the love in the chat box, because she really made sure that she would be here for us today. So the person I'm introducing now is none other than Mrs. Abimbola Akeredolu, Senior Advocate of Nigeria, FCIR, ICIR. She's a distinguished, with a capital letter, legal practitioner. She's also a partner at one of the leading law firms in Nigeria, where she oversees litigation, arbitration, and alternative dispute resolution. She has a first degree in French, and she has extensive training in other European languages, which has also enhanced her career, in the area of communication in courts and arbitral tribunals. Like I mentioned, she's a senior advocate of Nigeria, a notary public, and a fellow of both the Chartered Institute of Arbitrators UK and the Institute of Construction Industry Arbitrators. She has, 34 years of legal experience. Mrs. Akeredolu specializes in commercial, intellectual property law, tax, insolvency, labor, and industry disputes, with significant expertise in both international and domestic arbitration across sectors such as construction and oil and gas. She has represented and advised numerous local and international organizations and law firms, and has served as both counsel and arbitrator in various arbitration proceedings. She's also a pioneer in 2013, I beg your pardon. She made history as the first female Attorney General and Commissioner for Justice in Ogun State, Nigeria. Currently, she chairs the Lagos Chamber of Commerce International Arbitration Center and leads the Ethics, Compliance, and Dispute Resolution Committee of the Lagos branch of the Nigerian Bar Association, underscoring her leadership and commitment to advancing the legal practice and arbitration in Nigeria. Ladies and gentlemen, please join me in giving a warm welcome to Learned Silk herself, Mrs. Abimba Akeredolu. Please let's get your clap in the chat. You can give her all the love. Can you all hear me? Can you all hear me?
Yes, I heard you.
Thank you so much, Ma. Thank you so much for joining us today.
Thank you very much.
Yes, Ma. So, Ma, in the law practice series, we always like to talk to our guests in a conversational style, infusing storytelling. And so I'd just like to know a little about your career journey. I'm sure you've answered this question time and time again, so please indulge us one more time and share how your career journey has been so far. What inspired you to transition to public service? How did you become an Attorney General? We'd love to know all of this and more. Thank you, ma'am.
Okay, so I'll try to take that one by one. The one that catches my ear is, how did I transit to public service? Wow. It wasn't my choice. It just happened. It happened that the state was looking for an Attorney General. I think one Attorney General just left them, and they were in the market looking for a candidate to fill the office. And this very senior lawyer who was sent to look for an Attorney General said, "We're looking for an Attorney General, and it doesn't matter if it's a woman, and governor works very well with women as well, as long as the person knows what they are doing." So it turned out that my name came up twice or thrice. But of all the people who mentioned me, who were judges of the Court of Appeal, none of them knew if I had an affiliation with Ogun State. I'm so sorry. None of them knew if I had an affiliation with Ogun State, so they had to look for me. I was out of the country to confirm if I had any affiliation with Ogun State. It turned out that I did, and so they invited me. That was the first time I was meeting the governor. He interviewed me, and the rest is history. So it wasn't something I had prayed to God to be Attorney General of the Federation. So it was like God answering the prayer in a way that God preferred to do. And the rest is history.
That's it. And I know it's the starting point, because that dream will definitely still come true.
Only if it pleases God. Because if you go to aspire for something that God has not assigned you to, you'll get burnt. Much as I would love it, only if it's God's will.
Very well, Maya.
Sorry, you had a series of questions. That was the only one
I also wanted to take us back to your journey. I could see that you had a background in the language, which is very interesting to see.
Oh, yes.
Can you give a brief overview of how you started and why you went to law?
Okay. Actually, I had always been a bit of an advocate, a defender of the helpless. I'm the one who will fight for the person whose mother is not at home. I naturally just take side of the underdog. It's something I wish I could change, but I always had taken the side of the underdog. So I quickly recognized that if you want to do this, your advocacy, you better read law, But then when I did A levels, I didn't have enough A level points to qualify for law. But then I had French. So I thought, well, I might as well not lose. Can Esther Graham please mute herself? Can Esther Graham please mute? Thank you. I realized, well, I have French and I got admission for French. I thought, well, why not? So, and then I heard that you go abroad for 1 year. When you're in university, you're happy to be away from your parents and everybody for 1 year entirely on your own. And if it's Europe, why not? So I went in for French and thought I might as well finish it. I could have tried to change, but I didn't even bother because the second year of French, we were going to go abroad. So that was why I finished French. While we were doing French, we had Italian as an elective. And the Italian government in the first year was offering a scholarship for the best students. So I tried to be one of the best students and I got a scholarship. I went to Italy for a couple of months on a scholarship, came back, then went off to France for a year, then came back and finished off the degree. Immediately after, I then did youth corps and went back to study law in Unilag. So I hope I answered your question.
Yes, Ma. Thank you so much. That's such a robust experience, which is quite enviable, you know. Even actually at that
it made me junior at the bar to those I would have been senior at the bar to. That's what I love.
It's not a trade-off. Some of us wouldn't even mind because that experience is not everybody has the opportunity. So true. I love it for you, Ma. And thank you so much for sharing that. The essence of bringing you on board is your wealth of experience as a woman. You know, we know that no matter how generous your boss at that time, who was the governor of the state, was towards, you know, the other gender, we're sure that, you know, your experience would have been for so many reasons. And so, even okay, Ma. Okay, are we in order? All right, Ma. Thank you, Ma. So, like I was saying, we are sure that, you know, being a woman in any country, you know, in that kind of exalted position can't be easy, much less in Nigeria. So we would just like to hear from you because the essence of this conversation is just for we women and even the men to understand the perspective and the realities that come with such an exalted position. So I would like you to share briefly, you know, the political dynamics if you were appointed, and also your experience as the Chief Law Officer of Ogun State, the challenges you faced and how you're able to overcome, and the strategies that you used or that you found in, you know, in your journey that was very helpful to you as a.
Okay. Funny, I didn't feel discriminated against at all as AG. We had a cabinet full of, I mean, not full of, but with many strong women. And I think the governor, it takes a very wise man to see the strength in a woman. A very wise man, men like my husband. they see that a woman's view is not to be discountenanced, and it works to their advantage. It is, I'm very sorry to say, it's a very foolish man that discountenances the wisdom or the strength or the value that a woman brings to the table. And in my firm, the 3 top partners are men, and I know that they are very wise men in the way they have brought women into the leadership of the firm. We are almost equally balanced men and women in the firm in terms of partners. I didn't suffer any, maybe I did, but I didn't realize it. But I'm sorry, maybe I might not be the best person to speak to this kind of topic because I don't focus on
the negatives.
Negatives, exactly. For me, the glass is always half full. Whatever it is, the glass is half full. But then once in a while, I pick up on discrimination. There's a matter going on right now, the one I did in Lagos this morning. And the very first time we went to court, a very senior counsel, man, a male on the other side. We were all having, bantering and everything. And when the matter finished, because I had raised a very valid point that irked counsel to the claimant, when we finished proceedings and we were all laughing and smiling, the attitude he gave me was very negative compared to what he gave the other men. I was the only woman, the only female on the panel on this as a senior advocate. I was the only top female senior advocate in the proceedings. And the attitude he gave me made me realize he wouldn't have taken it so badly. Because obviously the point I raised was a sucker punch for him. And I think he took offense that it came from a woman. So he gave me very negative attitude. And of course, the next day when I came, I said hello to everybody and pointedly ignored him. If you're going to treat me like a woman, I'll show you what a woman can do. And I've been ignoring him since then. So yes, the discrimination will come every now and then. It will come every now and then. But I'm not looking out for it. But every time I do see it, I ask myself, would he have done that if he was a man? And then I decide, okay, how would a man handle this? How will a woman handle it? And I merge the two ideas. I continue to raise valid points that will continue to annoy him, which is what a man would do. And then as a woman, I ignore him. And I'm waiting for him to ask, you greet everybody, you don't greet me. And I'll tell him, why did you react negatively to me the other day? Is it because I was a woman? You didn't react to all the others negatively because I raised the valid point. Is a valid point too heavy for a woman's mouth? And I find that as well with some judges. You are making a point that a man would make. And in their head, you can see them thinking, yeah, I've had a judge say before, you're a woman, no? And my lord, that's totally beside the point. You need, yes, okay, because everybody says, I heard somebody say that women were more emotional, I don't know if we should do stereotypes. So, because, yes, I'm a woman, I'm more emotional, but when I'm wearing my work hat, I throw emotion away. There's this thing that was going around on the internet many years ago. They said they wanted to recruit for some Secret Service death squad, and they put them in a place in the part of the test. So they put a person there and they tell you, whoever it is, you must shoot them. So they put in a few men, and when the men saw, my mother, I can't shoot her, and they came out. And this woman was put in there, she saw the person and she shot. I'm not saying it's right, I'm not saying it's wrong, but let us not do stereotypes. There are some women that are deadpan, they don't send. And the same way, there are some men who are deadpan, they don't send. Give them equal opportunity, then you will know. But we shouldn't do stereotypes. They say women are more emotional. I think Africans are emotional. We are less rational than we are less rational and we are more emotional. If we want to apply stereotypes, let's apply it across the board. But don't tell me that women are more emotional. Yeah, I mean, I've done cases where a criminal matter where I won and I honestly wanted to cry, and I got into my car and I cried. Is it because I'm a woman? That's how I express my joy. And once I finish crying, I get strength to continue. So let's not do stereotypes. There are some women that are deadpan, and it might not be that they don't have emotions, but they're able to suppress it better than other people. And I know very emotional men. I know some men that you will even say to them, we all say it now, why are you behaving like a woman? Stop it. The ability to be emotional is not the exclusive preserve of any gender. Let's not do stereotypes. And it's been going on for too long. We need to stop it.
Thank you so much, Leonard Silkma. It's a lot to unpack just from this, we just had. Because, I mean, I love how you gave a balanced perspective to, being a woman in the workplace in that, in that position. How you just do your work. You don't look out for bias. You don't look out for discrimination. But even at that, when you're confronted with one, you act, where you know best, because you understand that you need to prove yourself. And I also like the fact that you made it clear that, being a woman is not a sign of weakness. And we have to acknowledge that the society, the cultural, the social construct is that woman equals weakness. It's quite sad. And, when you even now find a woman coming tops. I mean, when I was in school, I also went to Unilag. The top two students in my class were women. The only 2 first-class students in my class were women. And they went on to do great things in law school as well. But I'm sure people will wonder, how come it's women? But why not women?
Exactly. Nobody has shown us that the brain of a woman is less effective or less large or smaller.
Exactly. And even the fact that even when women are having conversations, even social conversations, people want a woman to join them. I'm happy that we have a mix. We have a mix of both genders here, because it's not to cast aspersion to the male gender. It's just to create awareness, because a lot of us are just dealing with biases that we inherited. We grew up, the men amongst us, sadly, even women propagate such biases and say, you're a man, then you're a woman, you just go and sit down, don't do this. All of that comes from how we're all raised. And a lot of us have now come out to say we're going to defy such stereotypes. So thank you, Ma, for that balanced perspective, and also making understand that no matter how the society is, we can chart our own course and we can choose how to react.
Exactly.
Thank you so much.
This, speaking of strength, we have different strengths. I do not know of any man that can have painful periods and carry a pregnancy. I do not know of a man who, if men were brought to the delivery table to deliver by, natural birth, even cesarean section, they would have found a solution to painful births since. But the women haven't had the advantage of education. The men had this head start. I'm sure in the years to come that we're having more women in research, in medical research. They will find a solution to painful birth very soon.
Yes.
The more women that go into it. But we have different strengths. 4 men can lift a car. Yeah. Maybe the women will run away, though I lift cars. But we have different kinds of strengths. We have internal sustained strength. We might not have that physical strength to be able to carry a table, but if you put a woman to it, they probably will find a way around it. So let's not do stereotypes. This stereotype is coming from this thing I always say, that for many in nature foisted the natural role to the woman. So the men went hunting, they would kill the elephant and bring it, then the woman would cook it. So she was master of the house and he was master of the outside. So he had a head start, he had an advantage. He knew the outside very well and everything. But come the Industrial Revolution, staying at home could not, the woman found that staying at home is not going to pay. So she too has come outside and she's looking outside and say, all this one, I can do it. But the man, okay, a few men have gone back into the house and want to be house husbands, fewer. But more women are coming out. So, the society needs to make room. And that's why we need to quit stereotypes. Women don't, a woman can't drive a truck. Why not? Even my husband calls me downfall driver when I'm at the steering. I follow, when I used to drive, I used to follow sirens to get out of traffic. Good. And I probably do it better than my husband because he's more careful. I follow them and I've never gotten hit. So that's what a woman does one thing. The only thing a woman can do is pregnant another woman. And even that, they're working on it. So,
wow.
I think we women to stop playing victim and start to come out.
Yes.
That's been my attitude.
And I feel like what you just said is in line with the theme of the year. Accelerate action. We need to just take action and just.
If you wait, few men will give us a chance. Well, let me not say few, but some men will give us a chance, but not enough.
Yes.
Some feel threatened by us. So if you start to ask them for excuse, they won't give you an excuse. So you just have to butt your way through.
We need to power through.
Absolutely.
Let's do it. Yes. Yeah. Thank you so much, Ma. And I'm happy you actually went to that area of talking about, family, pregnancy, because my next question is in line with that. I can see that you're a family woman. You've mentioned your husband more than once, you know, already, and that tells me that
He's a great guy.
and that's such an interesting thing to hear from you, because this is another important factor which we all know is very key to a woman's success or otherwise, you know. So I would like to know, because I mean, you were in Ogun State, and I think you are based in Lagos. You were based in Lagos at the time. So how did you navigate leadership, family, personal commitments? How were you able to balance all of that? How were you able to navigate that journey?
Well, it was easier. It was easier than it would have been if it had been earlier than that, because my last child was in boarding school. So I remember when I got the call, and I called my husband and said they asked me to come in Ogun State to interview for AG role. And my husband says, "So what are you waiting for?"
Wow.
I said, if I go, means I'll go to Abeokuta. How will you eat? My husband said, "My friend, you go to Abeokuta and we'll think about that one later." I said, "Okay, so you'll be looking to get rid of me." And we had a laugh about it, and I went. So what I used to do, I used to go to Lagos at the weekend. And I would be in Abeokuta Monday to Friday. If there was no state function over the weekend, I would go to Lagos. If there was a state function, my husband would come to Abeokuta. That was it. But you know, over the years, I had paid my dues.
So I think it's all about time management and self-discipline.
Sorry?
Sorry. Please go ahead, ma.
Yeah, so when my children were younger, it probably would have been hard, because I was a very hands-on mom. I do homework, prepare them for common entrance. I was a very hands-on mom. Make them wash their socks, make them wash their pants, you know, all of those things. And if you are not there, you don't want to leave all of that training and discipline to house girls. And when I'm in the kitchen, my children will be in the kitchen with me, learning and all of that, because they are going to go out into the world and they have to be able to live. Happily, they're all in their own places now living. It's a question of understanding. Over the years, I paid my dues. My husband obviously recognized that my family was very dear and important to me. So I didn't neglect my duties as a wife and as a mother in the early years. So when you've paid your dues, and in anything, even in an office, if you have an employee who, when they first join you, they're very diligent, very hardworking, then that employee now starts to have a family or gets pregnant and is weak, you know, you'll be able to overlook. It's like my driver. I've had him for what, about 24 years.
Wow.
And he's slowing down now. When he drives, I want to shout at him that, "Mr. Man, please, I'm in a hurry, I'm going to court." But you know, he looked after the cars. He's so diligent, he's thorough. The cars look so good. He takes care of the cars like you know, you are able to forgive that kind of person anything. So you need to pay your dues in everything, even in the profession. You pay your dues, then you get your benefits much later. So that's pretty much it.
Thank you so much.
There's no shortcut. You have to pay your dues.
That's times and seasons. This is one of the
you know, I always say that Ecclesiastes 3:1-10. There's a time and a season for everything under the heavens. Yeah.
Thank you for that, you know, for that very noteworthy perspective, because you know we can't always have it all at the same time, but we can't have it all.
Exactly. Absolutely. Yeah.
Such a combination of that. I'm very interested to know how you transitioned back into private practice. And even why, because I mean, we've seen different experiences of people who from there say, you know, let me run for office, or let me just pursue another political or public office. And here you are, and I can just still see that zeal and passion for, you know, going to court, this resolution, and you know, I even thought I just got a certification in 2019. Where is that drive coming from? Where is that passion coming from? You know, and how were you able to transition back, you know, into private practice and even joining a firm like Bowen and Kodalo? What was it like? How were you able to adjust?
Oh, it was very easy to adjust because I did not go into public office. I didn't allow the perks of public office to, I didn't allow it to make me forget myself.
Mm.
You know, when you're in office, somebody carries your bag, you almost carry yourself, bit of cars, but you must never forget yourself. And when I was in public office, I used to say, even to people who petitioned my office, that I am your servant. I went into public office with a servant mentality, and I never allowed myself to forget it. There are times when I would be triggered or angry and I would want to do something, and I would hear my father's voice. My father used to say, many years, God rest his soul, in Yoruba, "Àdánwò lágbára." Power is a test. If you misuse it, you get burnt. So I used to always remember, "Àdánwò lágbára," and I would never allow myself to forget that someone sat on that chair before I came there. I would get up, someone else would sit there. And having a servant mentality, I'm here to serve, I'm here to work. And believe me, we served. My governor made us work, we served. So it was easy to come back to life. And when I was in office, I gave strict instructions. You must never keep lawyers waiting. That is my constituency. That is where I'm going back to. So when lawyers come, even if I'm in a meeting, take their card, bring it to me. I will have an idea why they're looking for me and I will attend to them. Because as AG, Chief Law Officer, I am, yes, Chief Law Officer for the state. I'm also the leader of the bar. So it's like you are a chief. So ideally you are the servant of your community. Your community, who are the lawyers, bring their issues to you. You should be able to deal with it quickly for them. So the important thing is leadership is about service. Public office ideally is about service. Even our Lord Jesus Christ, he washed the feet of his disciples. And that was the job of a servant in the biblical days, in the days when the Bible was written. It is the servant that would wash the feet because they used to wear slippers and sandals. They used to wear sandals, so their feet were very dusty. So when you enter somebody's house, it was the servant's job in that house to wash your feet before you went in. But our Lord Jesus Christ did it for his disciples, showing that, yes, maybe I'm a leader, I'm your leader, but I am here to serve you. So that was the mentality I went into public office, of course, with my father's voice at the back of my ear saying, power is the test. So I never allowed myself to forget. So it was easy to come back into normal life because I didn't allow power to go to my head. So I would never allow, for instance, if the governor sent me somewhere, use a siren. If it wasn't necessary, I can't even stand that noise. I don't know how people do it. And I would tell the escort people, no siren, please, no siren. If we are in a hurry, let's leave home early. So it was easy to come back into Lagos traffic when I wasn't used to using siren. Because I once said to a friend of mine who was in government and was forgetting himself, I said, 8 years will soon pass. And he went to report me to someone else. I said, okay, they are not going to flog me. Is it a lie that 8 years will soon pass? It turned out he didn't even spend the 8 years. He's back with the rest of us. You must never forget, power will pass. You can't die there. You can't. Power will pass. There will be one day when you are out of it. I hope I answered your question.
But I love how when I ask you a question, you now just make it robust and we are just able to pick from different angles because there are lessons on leadership, servant leadership, lessons on humility, on staying grounded, regardless of wherever you find yourself. And also understanding that if you have not carried yourself too far, it will be hard for you to adjust because
he that is down. We had that when we were young. He that is down needs fear no fall. He that is low, no pride. He that is humble ever shall have God to be his guide.
Lovely. I forgot that you sing very well too. I remember when you were there, last year. And you gave us a special number that day. This is that. I was giving us so much. In fact, we're not even worthy. Thank you so much, Leonard Silk.
Thank you.
Thank you so much, ma. So to wrap up, we'll still come back to you maybe doing Q&A, but just quickly wrap up. I would like you to share with us any advice you have for all lawyers here, because I believe personally that the race or the role of ensuring gender parity is not exclusive to just the women. We are both responsible for it. And so my question is two-pronged. How do we, someone just said you're a full package, and I absolutely agree.
Really, thank you. Thank you.
So I would like you to just give us some words of advice with regards to legal practice, because like I said, I know that you are clearly passionate about legal practice. So what is your advice to us regarding starting your law practice and even growing it? And even if you are working in a law firm, how do you grow your career in that regard? And also gender parity. What can we do in our own offices, each and every one of us, men, women, all older, younger women, to take action with regards to ensuring gender parity, ensuring that women are, they are better than they used to be, that there are equal opportunities for them to grow and to thrive?
Now you are the one giving me loaded questions. Okay, so I'll take it from two. Oh, thank you, Mr. Olusoya. So nice word.
Class are just buzzing.
I'll take it from the individual's perspective first. A young lawyer, woman, man coming into practice. You need to read, and read. Nobody has a duty to spoon feed you. You are the one. One of Motoba Shipa is the child that opens hand that the mother will carry. You have to show that you are interested in what you are doing. And I think the lovely lady from Dangote said as much. If they tell you, go and fill this bottle, let it be that you fill it with so much diligence and thoroughness to the best of your ability that somebody, a third party, independent third party watching you will say, wow, that's how this person is so thorough with what they're doing. It might just be that independent third party that will be the person who will recommend you one day. And that was my experience in Ogun State. Two justices of the Court of Appeal, I still don't know who the third person is. And one of the justices of the Court of Appeal, I had appeared against him in a matter when he was still in practice, and I headbutted him. When I say headbutted, we crossed swords, and I fought the case with all my ability. And more than 10 years later, even more than 15 years later, there he is giving me a recommendation. And all I was, hello?
I can hear you, ma.
Oh, okay.
Please go ahead.
And all I was doing my job to the best of my ability. You need to also read. You cannot stop reading. You may not be able to buy all the books, but if you are given something, let's say maybe on intellectual property, trademarks, and you in doing it, you may have a few questions, go and do the research. Grab a book on trademarks. And I advise anybody who is reading a book, when you start reading a book, especially the foreign authors, I love them so much. Do you know, I read from the foreword of the book. In fact, that's the first thing I read. There's so much history. And by the time you understand the history, the underpinnings, how they came about those decisions, how they came to formulate those principles, by the time you understand that, you'll be like a wizard. You'll be like a witch of the law. Because you now have the benefit of the evolution of that principle. And wonderful. I remember when I was studying for arbitration in 2019, I was preparing for the exams, and I now read my textbook. I read the history, how they came about, how arbitration came about. And by the time I went and did the exams in England, the oral exams, people that we did the exams together thought maybe I had some other special knowledge. And it only came from reading beyond what I needed. I went into the history of it. You know, by the time you read the foreword of a book, the preface, the introduction, the historical background, amazing. You'll appear so learned, but you need to put in that work. It won't come to you from pressing phone. And I think that's the bane of this generation. I even am trying to fight it now. It's so easy to pick up your phone and just be scrolling nonsense and rubbish that doesn't add value to your work. You know, and I guess my generation was lucky we didn't have phones in that time. So there was, if you wanted to write a letter, it had to be longhand and forget about email. So I guess that's allowed us time to read. And if it's not a book, read law reports. There are some cases that are often cited. A case like Madukulu and Nkem Dilim on jurisdiction. Just even sit down and read the case. And you'll be amazed how it sticks with you, that you'll be citing Madukulu and Nkem Dilim off the top of your finger and people will think you are brilliant. But you see, that investment of time and energy needs to be made. There's no shortcut to it. Okay, so how do we as employers or law firm owners try to bring lawyers up? I don't know if there's an answer to that, but a staff that is diligent will stick in your mind. And when you are looking out for, benefiting people, blessing people, those people who have become because if you are good, you become indispensable. And that's what you should aim to do as a junior. Be the person they think about when they say, okay, I have to be in London and this case is coming up. Okay. Who can I trust in this matter? And your name should be the one that comes to mind. So that your boss knows that, I remember when I was leaving my boss, Chief Aumolo, and I was happy when he said, no, when they did a lunch or dinner for me to leave, when I was leaving. Oga said, Mrs. Ake, if she's dying, she will drag herself to court. Say, my Lord, I'm about to die and die there, but she will get to court. I know of a judge who once adjourned the matter when she saw that, is it not Mrs. Ake ruling this matter? I'm going to grant her an adjournment. She never misses her matters. There must have been something.
Wow.
It's the reputation you create, but it comes over time. It's something you build. It's like a house. You don't just abracadabra, you have a house. You lay it brick by brick. After you've laid a few bricks, you put a plumb line to be sure that it's straight. Then you lay bricks and bricks again. It's an investment of time, but there's no shortcut to it. You must invest the time and the energy.
Thank you so much, Ma. Thank you. Read. There is no shortcut to it.
No shortcut. And your reading doesn't have to be law alone. Because if you read even novels in your holidays or when you are traveling, it improves your vocabulary. You won't be looking for words. The words, by reading and appreciating literature, it stays with you. Your vocabulary is expanded. You are able to structure sentences properly. Your writing improves as well. So, thank you.
So finally, I think you missed it. I also wanted to get your perspective on how we can accelerate action, steps we can take, each and every one of us can take to achieve gender parity, gender equity.
Gender parity. Yeah, it would be nice if we can, but not that. Women have to. Actually, what comes to mind is there's this Yoruba saying that if they're calling you a thief, don't go and be caught dancing with the child of the goats that you stole. They say women are not resilient, they're not. Why do we allow them to say this? Pregnancy, I know it can be challenging, but brace up yourself. When something is entrusted to you, a file, come what may, perform, deliver. That is what you are going to sell. And it's unfortunate that some of us women, and you see, I have to be frank, drop the ball. We behave like Imele. You know, we are tougher than that. And then a lot of women run from litigation. It's too stressful. It's true. Okay, go and do solicitor's work. Don't come and disturb litigation for those of us who are able to do it. Because you see, by the time 1, 2, 3 women drop the ball, I call them alakpaake, plastic hands. By the time 3 plastic hands drop the ball on a file, will a male employer be happy to employ a female litigation lawyer? Please answer me this question. And then we will say they are discriminating. The man, we're all victims of our experience. The man gave you a file. He said because you're pregnant, you got to court late, the matter was struck out. Okay, he then fires you and another woman comes along. Of course, he's going to say, no way. A lot of them don't want to employ women because they say she will soon get married and she start getting pregnant and will be in trouble. You know, it's not right, but can we blame them? You know, they say, let's test ourselves, choke yourself with pain to know how it hurts. So can you blame the men? I like to be balanced here. So first, identify your strengths. If as a woman, you know that this litigation thing, going to sweat in court and join Marwa to get to court on time. I can't do it. I would rather be seated in my comfortable air-conditioned office reading agreements. If that is for you, beautiful. But make sure you are the best at it. Me now, if you give me a 10-page agreement, I'll probably fall asleep by page 3. I love live issues. When I see, this man, they are cheating him. This is libel. This is libel. This statement is libelous. Those are the things that irritate me. So if I had to read a 50-page court process, I would be awake because I'm looking for, where is the libel? I'm looking for something. I don't know. By the time I read the 10-page agreement, by page 4 or 5, I fall asleep. Because for me, the issues are not live. So identify your strengths. If there's a commercial litigation now, the solicitors would have identified all the things I need to use. Then I ask them the question, it becomes alive for me then. Identify your strengths. If you cannot do litigation, it cannot be a job. It has to be something you're passionate about. Litigation, arbitration, dispute resolution. If it is not your passion, please go away from it. The same thing I say to people, when you see people in court, my lord, God, judge has ugly, and you think you want to go and be a judge, think about it because the work starts after the my lord. That's when they will carry the big file. Consider submissions of this side. Consider, a former AG of Lagos State had invited me to come and be a judge. The former CJ that, we need people like you. And I said, my lord, I don't have the temperament. I don't have the patience. I will be snatching motions from lawyers. I will say, you have a good motion. You don't know how to move it. Let me show you how to move a motion. Petitions will be plenty. That's why I didn't go. I actually thought about it at the time. When my children were very young and I found I wasn't having enough time, I felt I needed to give them more time. And my husband said, think about this thing you want to do very well. These children will grow up and go and live their life. You now say you are a judge. Then once empty head will come and say they are senior advocates and be talking rubbish in front of you. You get annoyed and you'll be frustrated. Think about it very well. And I thank God for my husband because he was right. I would have been frustrated as a judge. Huge files. Let me be the one making the submissions. I don't want to review the files. Thank you. I don't want to review the submissions. Know your strengths. Being a judge is beyond, we are all bowing to you and you are issuing orders and giving directives. Reading the file, considering the submissions. If it is not what you are destined for, if it is not your makeup, it's not your temperament, don't do it. Being a judge is very hard work. That's not to say other things are not hard work. So, know your strengths and play to your strengths. That's the only way we can do all of this. If as a woman, you are not passionate about litigation, don't go near a litigation firm. Don't go and spoil it for other women who want to do it. Because that's what I found. A lot of women are discriminated against in the litigation space because the men feel that, oh, when she gets married now, she go and have children, and that's how my work will be. She just be dropping my work. She spoils it for others.
Thank you so much, Lynn. You know, I love the fact that you made it clear that the way we can even actually take charge is if we are playing to our strengths. People can respect us, people can hear our voices because we are competent. So this is a charge for you. And I'm so happy that we have a mix of the younger lawyers, the middle age, the older lawyers, so that everybody knows what they need to do, you know, in their own personal, you know, career journey. So thank you so much, Enetikma. Please bear with us and stay on the call. I know you was very tired from being in court, your flight, but please, I know that there are a lot of questions on the chat box, but please indulge us for some little more time for the Q&A session so that we can also check in with you on all those questions. Thank you so much. We are grateful.
I'll just take a food break and return all the calls that have been coming in.
Yeah.
Thank you very much for the opportunity. God bless you.
No, thank you, Ma. So over to you, Uche.
That was such a charged session. Leonard, thank you so much for all your insights. We appreciate, and the chat box has been buzzing. It's been buzzing. It's been buzzing, but we'll come back to that. Now, our final panelist for today is Ms. Efosa Ewere. Efosa is a seasoned legal professional specializing in corporate governance, dispute resolution, and insolvency. She is the managing partner at Gravida Attorneys, a Nigerian law firm, and it provides tailored legal and consultancy services across various sectors. She's an experienced litigator, arbitrator, mediator, governance and insolvency practitioner, advising clients on dispute resolution strategies and representing them in courts, arbitration and mediation proceedings. Efosa also provides company secretarial services, board evaluations, and corporate restructuring for individuals and organizations. She's a notary public of Nigeria, a fellow of multiple professional bodies, including the Institute of Chartered Secretaries and Arbitrators, ICSAN, of which she is the chairperson of ICSAN Lagos State Chapter. She's also a fellow of the Chartered Institute of Arbitrators, UK. She used to be, Efosa has held so many leadership positions. I had to abridge her profile because it's so long, so powerful. I think she used to be the president of the YMG, Young Members Group of CIARB, and she's currently the general secretary of the Business Recovery and Insolvency Practitioners of Nigeria, BRIPAN. She's a fellow there as well, and she's listed as a neutral on key arbitration panels such as the Lagos Court of Arbitration, CIARB UK. Efosa, okay, I've jumped the gun, but I'll still repeat it again. Efosa has held several leadership roles, including chairman of ICSAN, Lagos State Chapter, vice chair, okay. She's also contributed to MBA Lagos and BRIPAN and CIARB conference committees. Like I said, she has a very, very rich and heavy profile, which I had to abridge. She's recognized for her contributions. She has been featured as a notable woman in ADR by the Chartered Institute of Arbitrators UK, Legal Personality of the Week by This Day newspaper, and in Business Days, Women in Business. She's a life member of WINBIS, an active MBA and MBA SBL member, and an advocate for good governance. Beyond her legal career, Efosa enjoys music, dancing, singing, and chess, continually making significant contributions to both the legal profession and her broader community. Please, can we show some love to Efosa Ewere in the chat box and show some love to her as well? Thank you so much for being on this panel. Thank you for honoring us with your presence. And we know that we'll be able to gain some very good insights from you to do justice to the topic.
Thank you, Trina.
So a lot has already been said. And we've already spoken how at the Law Practice series we like to have a conversational feel, storytelling kind of energy to it. So I'll just go straight into it. And like I said earlier, EFOSA has a very strong profile that has to do with leadership and service in the MBA, in various affiliate organizations, and she's the founding partner of her firm. So I just ask you, your leadership journey in law and leadership. Let's get to know you. Tell us your career story. How did you start? What are those key moments that shaped your career path? I'm just going to roll everything into one, and I'll come back for the next question. And what challenges did you encounter along the way, and how did you overcome them? How did you start your legal career? What challenges did you encounter, and how did you overcome them?
Okay, thank you very much, Uchenna, and thank you to your firm for inviting me to share my journey. And I've listened to the previous speakers. The learned speaker is even someone I've admired from afar. And I've watched her in the courtroom, particularly in my rookie days. So I think she was one of those female lawyers I would look at and tell myself that, okay, it's not bad being a litigator anyway. So, and Mrs. Hassan is also a part of the ICSAN body. So I'm in safe hands and in good hands, and I've enjoyed their journey. And mine, I don't know if I should call my journey very interesting, but it was an eventful one for me coming into Lagos from, I attended University of Benin. So it was one of those very, would I say, first experience staying away from home for a very long time, and particularly staying away from home without any allowances. So you had to, and I would say I stubbornly came into Lagos because I was tired of the policing, staying in the house, giving you curfew. You have to be home by 4 p.m., 6 p.m., you know, and all of that. And I said, no, this won't work. And my dad, being a civil servant, just thought the best thing that could happen to any of his children, they should get into the civil service. So I just told myself that I needed to break free a bit. So I thought Lagos was cosmopolitan city, and I'll be able to explore my legal career there. But coming in, I had friends who came off law school and they were working in the bank. There was this boom with that competitive remuneration package for employees then who worked with the bank. And I got out and I had my friends already buying cars. And I had my friends in the law firm who were still jumping buses. Me, I've always liked the soft life. So I was wondering, how do I choose between enjoying the soft life or enduring to ensure that I get what I want? So it was a conversation that I struggled with mentally for a very long time. And this is something I would always tell my younger self. You don't jump into a career without having someone to speak with who has been there. So for me, it was more like I jumped in. I knew I would not want to sink. But at the same time, I know how I struggled mentally to take that decision if I should continue with the law firm, which that's meager salary, or jump into the bank where I could easily make money from one month. The money from, I'm sure in a year would have made me live comfortably. So, but I got to that stage in my life where I told myself that I was struggling too much mentally to make that decision. Each time I got an interview opportunity to work in-house, I would struggle, sometimes pray, God, if it's not for me, let it not happen. But each time I had to go to work as a lawyer, I felt that excitement, getting into the big and getting into the courtroom. So I would say it was just a self-discovery experience for me to tell myself that, you know what, you have a passion for this thing, just do it and have peace. Forget about the money. Maybe the money will come, but just follow your passion. So that was how it all started with the law firm. So I started off, that was one of the first law firm I worked, just the way Mrs. Hassan mentioned, why you would work in a certain place and run away after 1 month. I had that same experience with the first place I worked before I jumped into Alehi & Co, where I would say I caught my teeth, and it was a litigation firm. Then I began to think that I needed to explore more. You know how you would have friends that would come ask you questions from the corporate space and you're a bit lost. So I told myself, okay, maybe I should go do certifications in these areas. The first certification I tried to explore was, even while I was still with Alehi & Co, was arbitration, because at that time, they were representing a client who who had a case against him in an arbitration proceeding. So it was respondents in an arbitration proceeding. So they were supposed to represent that client. So I was thrown into the library to go research on it. So that was my first encounter. Then subsequently, you're having people tell you, oh, they want to register companies, they want governance, they want governance advice, you know, and governance structures, advisory, you know, and all of that. So I began to see a need to fill in that gap. So for every certification that I had, there was a need I was trying to take control of. I didn't just wake up to say, oh, I wanted to do arbitration. Because I was thrown into the library to do a research on it, I felt it appeared interesting. So I said, okay, let me do a certification on this and see if I could get more knowledge on it. Then even for the, me being the fellow of Chartered Secretaries and Administrators of Nigeria, it was the same thing. It was more like conversations, briefs from clients that led me into wanting to know more from that space. With Braipan, it was the same thing. I had a challenge in court. I had an insolvency matter and I got stuck. I would call certain older lawyers. They would give me an insight. But you know, when you get some responses and you're not satisfied, you feel, no, there's still something here. There's still a gap. And then that's how I found myself again in Braipan. So it was one need, trying to solve one client's needs from one step to another. So that was how I navigated through my journey. So it was never really planned. I always knew I wanted to be a lawyer, but how I was going to navigate it, I wasn't quite sure. I remember someone telling me when I was in university that, oh, if you're a lawyer, you're going to read all the days of your life. And I thought that was impossible. Why should I read all the days of my life? But I found myself in that space now, and I can understand why the person made such a statement. Particularly even going with what the learned silk mentioned on having to read and read, you just find out that you're there. You can't even help it because you are torn with several tasks right in front of you and you have a mandate to deliver. So that's how the journey has been, and that's how we got here.
Very interesting. Yours has been a case of meeting needs. So you've kind of, from what you said, your journey has been shaped by kind of what you've met along the line.
True.
Clients come along your way. And this ties into what I say most times, that in specializing as lawyers is either you set your heart to something and you say, this is an area of law that I like, this is an area of law that I'm going to pursue, I'm going to specialize in, or you specialize by virtue of what comes your way. And that seems to have been your story. It's what came your way and then your quest for more knowledge. So you decided to take more and more of these certifications. So it takes me to my next question. Unfortunately, like I said, I was not able to read your very impressive profile, but suffice to say, I'll reiterate, Efosa is the chairperson of ICSAN Lagos State Chapter. She's also the General Secretary of BRIPAN. I've mentioned that she was the past president of the Young Members Group of the Chartered Institute of Arbitrators, and she's held other notable leadership positions. So I'd ask you, and you're also the founding partner of your law firm, how have you managed the responsibilities of building a firm, growing a firm, managing a firm, and all these additional leadership positions that you hold in all these organizations that you belong to? How have you been able to balance it? How are you coping? Because I know those things, they can be so tasking.
Yes,
Even to serve on committees is a lot of
yes, it's a
work.
very valid question.
How are you balancing it?
It's a very valid question. Sometimes I ask myself, I ask myself that same question, how you coping? So I think it's been a function of just taking each day as it comes. Trying to see how I can plan my day. Sometimes I practically plan my week. At times it may not go as planned, but you try to prioritize, okay, you have deadlines here, you try to meet up with them, you have clients' expectations here, you have to meet up with them. Then you have even the firm too. So there was something interesting when I started off with the firm, Gravida Attorneys. I would say at some point I was even a bit lost as to this is okay. So I knew I was going to have run a law firm, but I had the mindset I was something that was going to be done in partnership with someone from the get-go. But along the line, it came earlier than expected. So I felt a bit thrown off. Okay, so what do we do now? What are the things to expect? As much as it didn't seem like, okay, so you know how you work in a firm and you don't know that you're getting some soft skills without, you just navigate and do your work without knowing that you're developing yourself with those soft skills and transferable skills in the course of your journey. So that's how it was for me at the firm I worked with before I opened, I founded Gravida Attorneys. And I was in that space too, with when you are trying to find your place with God, and all of that. And sometimes some words begin to hit you. Then you also go to church, you find out that, oh, they're speaking, it's like they're speaking to you and they're telling you start with what you have, those kind of messages, because I attend Daystar, those kind of messages keep coming to you. And it seems like, okay, maybe this message was specifically tailored to meet your need. So that's how it started for me. And while going through that journey, coincidentally, the church had this business academy running at that time. So I signed up for it, and at least I was able to pick one or two, guidance from how you run a business. So I picked on some of those things and decided to explore it with the law firm. So some of those things that I picked were, no matter how small, just try as much as you can to be excellent in what you do. Try as much as you can to delegate. So delegating has been more or less one important thing I've tried to manage. And in delegating, it's not just things that have to do with your office. There are also things around you that, you could pay someone to help get this done. And instead of sinking into it, that it's something that you could let go for someone else to harness. Then even with the office, I try as much as I can with my staff, to identify where people have strengths or weaknesses. It may not necessarily be, sometimes they come into the firm and they tell you, oh, when you're interviewing, oh, I can do this, I can work with or without supervision and all of that. But in the course of the journey, you find out that, okay, this person does not only possess maybe some legal skills, they possess other skills that could be administrative and help with you know, your whole the whole gamut of the practice. And once I identify it, I try to explore it and ensure that I make good use of it. So it's I won't say it has been an easy journey navigating all of this, but I have tried as much as I can to prioritize, to make good use of my calendar. Yes, there are times that you have to shut down from the parties, from the O1 bed and the rest of it, but I would say God has been helpful. It's if I tell you it's been so easy, then I'll be lying.
So in summary, what I hear you say is yours has been a journey of navigating through faith,
True.
training, delegation. Delegation, it's important to delegate. And I think a
Prioritize.
lot of people prioritize and delegate. So
Yeah.
I think that's a takeout for especially those who are starting their law practices or are into small law practices. Things can get a bit overwhelming. So it's important that you need to identify your strengths and your weaknesses, and you need to delegate. You can't do it all by yourself. So that's the only way that you'll be able to get ahead. As women and as individuals generally, we cannot just be thinking of ourselves. We also have to think of the society that we live in, whether our professional society or the wider society. And as lawyers, we belong to, a lot of us tend to belong to a lot of associations or a number of associations. We have the NBA, we have the SBL, we have the Chartered Institute of Arbitrators, whether UK, Nigerian, we have business, RIPAN, you have ICSAN. So it's not personally for me. I'm not comfortable sitting on the fringes most times. I'm solution oriented. I thrive on service. So I find that quite like you, I'm involved in a lot of activities, a lot of committees, and a lot of these organizations. How have you navigated? Are these associations, is there gender balance there? Are they female friendly? I think, well, there are some that I can think that maybe there's some sort of gender parity there. Maybe ICSAN, I may be wrong. I'm not a member of ICSAN. But what has been your experience as a female leader within these associations, these organizations? How have you navigated the political and power dynamics in these associations? Because we know that, yeah, you're going there to serve, but there's still a lot that goes on. How have you been able to navigate? So I've rolled up a bunch of questions into one. Number one, how have you been able to navigate as a female leader in these associations? Are these associations, are they gender friendly in terms of their leadership structure? And yeah, have you been able to navigate political and power dynamics there?
I never see myself as a politician, so so sometimes I would say it will be, I don't think it would be fair for me to speak on this and ascribe it to maybe the institution itself. But yes, it's humans that make up the institution. But I know that at various times you meet people who are very conscious of gender inclusivity at all times. So so if I am to speak on it with the institution, it may seem rather unfair, because it would also seem like I have also grouped in those who are very gender savvy, gender conscious. That's always wanting to have a woman on the table. It would seem like I've put them all in one box. But my challenges or my experience have been more with individuals. Sometimes you meet people who are not very gender friendly. You're in a leadership position, it seems like they're not very comfortable getting directions from a woman or a female in leadership and all of that. But have I allowed it to stop me from doing my work? No, it hasn't. So what I just try to do is, first I must recognize hierarchy. Ordinarily, even with the hierarchy, the issue of age ought not to be in your face, but you know, we can't take away our culture from all of these. So you also need to recognize age difference, culture. You also need to identify stakeholders who are of importance to you in that leadership journey. You also need to be aware of your position. And like Lennox, you've said, you're also very conscious of the fact that sometimes holding on these positions are a bit tenured. So they are tenured, not just a bit, they're tenured. So you know that you will leave that seat one day and you go back. So basically, I try to manage my space, try to manage my, would I say my constituency. I try to recognize friends who would always be good cheerleaders and great support system. So I've practically navigated myself through these dynamics, having to play with these factors. And one other thing I try to avoid is, as much as, yes, one would say you don't want to play the politics at Mr. Coyote. So one will not want to play the politics card at every point in time. But I would always say I'm conscious not to inherit people's enemies. So as much as you can, you try to, you're conscious of the fact that, yes, this gender thing, at times people play it out in your face, even without batting an eyelid. But I think it's always very important for me to always recognize my position, recognize the fact that I must have good stakeholders management at every point in time. So with that consciousness, I see myself navigating those roles. Whether one has played it out effectively, I can't say for now because we are still handling one of those, two of those roles you've mentioned. But so far, I would say that has been my source of strength in ensuring that you don't break your back. And one last thing in that area is the fact that for us as women, as much as we know that sometimes it may even be women who would want to say, oh, if it was a man playing this role, maybe it would have been better. Sometimes they think you are too emotional about certain issues and all of that. But I have grown to understand that I would always be myself. So once you have that consciousness of wanting to be yourself at every point in time, then I think it would help. For ICSAN, we had our first female president in 2023. And the institution has been in existence for almost 50 years. But for the Lagos State chapter, I'm the 12th chairman, but I think I'm the 5th female chairman that has come in. So you see, it becomes a bit very difficult to want to box and say, oh, what's the institution doing about gender? Because there's that awakening for everyone to say, no, you can't discriminate against women. You must give women the opportunity once the situation arises. I also recall that even for BRIPAN, the immediate past president, Mr. Akintunde, was one person who I heard, talk about this consciously each time. And those were some of the reasons I was also encouraged as to put in my expression of interest to say, there's an opening here. We need a general secretary. What are you doing? What are you doing about it? And with a bit of history, we've also had, people groomed within that space. The people groomed within that space have been females for at least for the past 2, 3, 4 years. Not the general secretary itself, now maybe like the assistants to at least help with that, to support that role. So I think there's a lot of consciousness. I can't recall any of BRIPAN's president being female, but I'm sure we'll get there.
That's really interesting. You have said so much, and I'll just summarize that. You have said it's not really that you say it's about the institution, because on some levels, you can see that there's actually gender parity. For example, Eastern Lagos, who's had almost an equal number of female as they have had men. But, you know, at another level, some more work needs to be done. And quite frankly, this is my personal opinion. I think that women can do well, more women can do well to put themselves out there. I personally think that not enough women put themselves out for leadership positions in some of these organizations. You now find that people are actually trying to consciously look for females to come and put themselves out for these positions. So it's not like there's a pool waiting to pick from. And that's similar to, well, for Leonard Silk, I think it was just open and they were happy to have her as well. I think a takeout for me from what you, Leonard Silk, have said is that more women need to put themselves out there. If you're out there, you're going to be given the opportunity. I don't think people are going to turn you down. And when you get in there, you should read the room, understand what's going on there, and don't just go in there and say, okay, I've arrived. There's a hierarchy. Even if you're chairperson today, there are people who have been there before you. There are elders, there are leaders. I mean, you can't take away our culture as Africans. And when you now add being African, being Nigerian, to being in the legal profession where, you know, it's according to year of call. So ageism is at play everywhere in our society. So it doesn't mean that you shouldn't be confident in yourself and take the step towards putting yourself out there for leadership, but read the room when you get in there and manage people. Do good stakeholder management when you get in there. Don't just go and say, oh, okay, I'm chairperson, I'm in charge. Okay, you'll get it if that's the case. So read the room. That was a takeout from what you said. So thank you for that. So I'd also ask you, going to our next question, I'd say, you hold this positions of leadership. You have your firm. What you have your firm. What steps are you taking? What steps are you taking to promote gender parity in your firm, in these organizations where you lead? Yeah, how are you helping to break the barriers in your own capacity? We'll
Okay,
put you
so
on the spot. You're on the panel. We'll put you on the spot.
okay, so it's not, I'm not working in Dangote like Mrs. Hassan, where you have so many women on the table. But so far, I would say I've been very conscious of it. When the firm started in 2017, the first person who walked into my office and asked for a job was female. Yes, she was one of those female that you would almost cry and weep and say, what's this girl doing? Why is she acting this way? But the firm was still young, so I could cope. But I'm sure if she came in now, I may not be able to cope with that kind of attitude. And then after she left, because she didn't even stay for too long, she came in as a copper and had a lot of stories to tell. And later I even found out she hadn't passed law school. I was trying to encourage her, but it seems she wasn't ready. The next female that came in actually, it wasn't obvious to me. I didn't know she was pregnant. And I was torn with, what do I do? This is a small firm. You may not be able to accommodate those excuses of, oh, sorry, I have to go to antenatal. But I had to consciously remind myself that I was also a woman. That if you turn this lady back,
it would be very unfair and could affect her self-confidence. So I consciously had to accommodate her. I had to ensure that instead of working, because she still had that 1 day for, what do you call that, the youth service, the day they usually have off, I can't remember, for their primary assignment, that I can't remember, but
I know what you're talking
one day
about.
off,
I
yes,
too am
that 1
struggling
day
to
off
remember.
that,
Is it
so,
community development? I'm not sure what
Development.
CDS. So she would take CDS and still had 1 day off for herself because she was pregnant. So it means she was only coming to work. It wasn't the time of remote working. So she was only coming to work 3 times a week, and I had to accommodate it even till she had the baby, you know, and all of that. And so far, not planned, but I have consciously had to employ only female lawyers in my firm, which is not by it wasn't designed that way, but that's the way that happened. And even recently I had to employ, I had to do an interview again to get some lawyers again in, and we had all female again. And the best, or would I say those who I felt were eligible enough for me to work with happen to even be people that females that just got married in December or in January. And I'm wondering what's happening here. You know, because I've been faced with something of that nature where I went for an interview. There was some law firm that I desire to work with, and I was asked that question of are you married, or are you planning to get married soon? Because we don't want to, actually, to my face, we don't want a situation where with the employer and the next minute you're getting married. So you know, if you've been faced with things like that, you would understand why employers would be very conscious of not wanting to employ someone who is a newlywed. But I think for me, it was a conscious effort to tell myself that no, this should not be one of those cases where you would also discriminate your gender because of something that someone is supposed to be happy about. Because for anyone getting married, of course, you're joyous about that step you're taking, that institution. So why should it be a factor or now be a barrier for you to take next step in your career? So it's been a self-conscious would I say step and activity for me in making decisions. So I would say that's the way I've managed it, and I try to show more empathy with the factors that are tied towards the issue of having women always surrounded by women and working with women.
Interesting. This session has been so packed. We've overshot our time. We've overshot our time by some good number of minutes. But in conclusion, for your particular session, I'd say, what's actionable steps? What's your advice for people that are still on this call? And by the way, I must commend everyone who is still here. We are over time by 30 minutes already, and we still have a good house. Thank you so much for staying on the call all through. And I'm sure the session must have been quite impactful. If not, I don't think that you'll still be on the call. Thank you so much. So to round up your session, Efusa, to those of us who are still on the call, what practical advice? I know that you've said it already, but just, you can just reiterate and summarize. What practical advice do you have for us? What actionable steps can we take as legal professionals to create balance, to advance our career, and if we wish to pursue leadership positions, how do we balance it? What are some of those practical advice that you can give to us?
For me, one practical thing that has got me going is the fact that I don't look at people's journeys, not as if you don't look at their journeys to learn from it. You don't look at their journeys to be in competition with them. So I see my life as a marathon. and not a sprint. So I have to endure certain things. I have to take it one step at a time. I recall when I was even preparing for my exam examinations at that time, when you're a lawyer, you're exempted from some courses, so you do only 4 courses. I was doing it one per diet. And some of my friends thought I was wasting my time and being silly. But I just said, well, I'm going to take my time. I have a lot, work loads already pulling me. And if I am to combine both of them, it would be too much. So I took it 1 course per diet and I journeyed through it. So I just feel that even you as a professional, don't ever think that you're there yet. So as much as some of these opportunities come, leadership positions, working with the firm, promotions here and there, always remember at the back of your mind that it's a journey. Once you think you arrived, it may appear like there are chances that you may fall behind. So you should always be conscious of the fact that it's something that you must keep going at. And I've always been one who is very big on self-development. So it's one thing I would never want to ever take for granted. And that's how I've moved on with it. So I will always advise anyone who is listening right now to take good control of self-development at all times. Take advantage of self-development. It's something that you never know where an opportunity will meet your preparation.
Thank you so much, Efosa. Thank you so much for your insights. We have so many questions in the chat box. Tony will handle the Q&A session. Tony, please check your chat. I'll be screening the questions for you and be dropping them so that you can be taking them, so that you can, let me help you focus so that we can cover ground.
Okay, thank you so much, Uche, and thank you so much, Efosa. Let me just quickly say that when I started, private practice, about how many years ago? 6 years ago, before we merged, Efosa was one of the people I had to go and talk to, being a woman leading a law firm successfully at the time, and she was so gracious and so generous. And you brought your gracious self here again, and you've really, really done justice to all these questions. Thank you so much, Efosa. Learned a lot. And now we have more questions for our panel. Our panelists, we hope Delena Silk is here to take the questions. So questions for Delena Silk. Someone here is saying that someone wants to know how you preserve your femininity as a woman in litigation. And then what advice would you give to a female working under a misogynistic employer? That's for Delena Silk. What advice would you give to a female working under a misogynistic employer, and how do you preserve your femininity in litigation?
I've always been a tomboy. Femininity, I don't even remember that any such thing. When I'm working, I'm in work mode. And I just want to, at that kind of time, my work relates to dealing with clients' issues. So at that time, the client's issue is my focus. Protecting my client's rights is my focus. So I don't even have time for femininity. And anybody in my way, I will bulldoze them out of the way to achieve my clients, within the limits of the law, of course. To achieve my client's objective. I don't even remember femininity. I don't know if what you mean is if you are, all those female issues.
I think, this is something that a lot of women tend to lose themselves. I'm just trying to
lose themselves. How?
Maybe they don't look good anymore, and you clearly don't have that problem. They don't, dress well, or they become too masculine.
That's not because of the work. That means that person had issues before. Okay, so you still do it now. At the weekend you tidy up your eyebrows. If you are into
part of being still being feminine, still being a woman, even if it's a man's world, still maintaining you know who you are. I guess that's what
Still looking good as a woman.
Yes.
For me, it doesn't get in the way because it's already been a part of me. And I raised 3 daughters, so it just had to be part of me because you have to pass on the femininity because they are feminine. You have to pass on the femininity. So you just build it in somehow, and you maximize your use of time. If I go to court in Lagos High Court, on my way back when I used to work on the mainland, I will just park across the road, enter Sura Market, buy yam, buy this, buy that, jump into the car, go back to work. Then you just have to. It's
just mix it. Like they say in that collabo, everything will work together.
You are a one-man riot sponge. And much as I don't like stereotypes, I have found, everything in life is what we call a Gaussian curve. There are the low parts, the high part of the curve. I think women are better at multitasking than men. That's not to say there are absolutely no men that can multitask, but women are better at multitasking. So I'm sitting at my desk drafting a motion for injunction, and I remember that we finished all the yam on Sunday. So I make a note in my diary that buy yam. You're still drafting your motion for injunction. No, there's no more matches in the house. Buy matches.
Love it.
My driver that I've had for years, such a darling. I just quickly sits down. Okay, please go and help me buy. There's no plantain in the house. Those children are eating dodo tonight. Please help me go and buy plantain before we go home. And you just, I don't know.
You said it all, man. You've said it all. You just make
determination to succeed.
Manage your time.
Yeah, maximize and manage. The journey to cut and back is a very useful. The journey back from court is a very useful journey. So nobody can tell you not to stop at the market to quickly buy what you want to buy. I remember even when I was AG and my governor would tease that some commissioners to go to market, and I would say, Oga, if I'm governor or president, I will enter market too. Nobody can buy tomatoes for me. I buy my tomatoes myself. So, it's really, you will always find time for things that are part of you and that matter to you. Yeah.
Thank you so much for that. About
misogynistic employer. I don't know. I think what to do is to wipe off the smile of a misogynistic employer's face by being very good at what you do. And if you are very good at what you do and you save the day, you say, oh gosh, you say it's only men that can do it. This one that I did, is it a man? And over time, you will get the message. Either that or you go and look for another job. I don't like indulging in complaining. I just get on with the job. I've had I remember when I was pregnant with my second child, my stomach was way out here. And my boss sent me to go and handle a matter for a very misogynistic client. As soon as I appeared in court, the client said, oh my God, you shall like it. Says, oh, for those who can't speak Yoruba, oh God, I don't like this thing that Goyega does. We said you should send a lawyer, he sends a woman. He sends a woman, he sends a pregnant one. What rubbish is all this? And I heard it and I thought, oh, God, you are on the throne. When I finished, and I had spent the weekend reading that file, the client's case was bad. That's why he thought my Oga, if my Oga came, my Oga would save the day. The client's case was bad, but I had spent the weekend looking for things to knock that case. So when the lawyer came from Lagos, he's a very senior advocate now. I reminded him of this a couple of weeks ago. He was 10 years at the bar. I was feeling pretty cool. He asked me how old I was at the bar. I said 3. He laughed. When he finished moving his motion, I said, is that all? He said, yes. Me, that's when the weekend reading. When I started. When I finished, the senior lawyer said, have you considered lecturing? I said, no, I have not. So I'm going to practice. The client now came out and said, lawyer, I know you heard what I said in the beginning, but take. This is 1993. Said, take, you are a lawyer. You are a very good lawyer. I'm sorry about what I said. And he gave me 500 naira. 500 naira in 1993 was some money. Imagine, that was a misogynistic client. But when I showed up with what I had worked, of course, I couldn't show up if I didn't work over the weekend. So the work over the weekend showed up. And the man was like, wow, yeah, she's a woman, but she's good. Even Boyega could not. And he said, that even Boyega could not have done better than what you did. So, if you are not ready to go and look for another job, because I don't believe in sitting in a place and complaining. Once the burdens outweigh the benefits, leave that job. If the benefits outweigh the burdens, consider staying. So if you are not ready to leave, rather than sit there complaining, wipe the smile off his face by being very good at what you do. So that by the time he wants to ask, he has any issue, you say, call Amaka for me, and you show up and you resolve the problem. And you notice that if I was a man, I would not have been able to solve your problem. Just, jokingly, jab, 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 and he will stop it over time. Begin to realize that there is a lot to a woman after all.
Thank you so much for being down to it as always, and your realistic approach to these questions are very, very helpful because everybody can relate to everything you are sharing. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
So the next question is would give this to Temitope, Mrs. Temitope Azan. Thank you so much once again for staying with us on this call. So the question is, where it seems your senior colleagues are kind of not happy about your achievements career-wise, what do you think is the best way to go about it?
Okay, thank you. I actually saw that question and I was trying to interpret it. I was thinking that person said achievements, but is it possible that maybe it wasn't really achievements that the senior colleagues are not happy about? So, well, if you think that you have some achievements that people are not happy about, maybe you first of all need to think carefully about it. Is there any reason why? Is there something I'm doing properly or what I'm doing wrongly? So in any job, if you're a junior, even if you're very brilliant and so wonderful and all that, it's important that you learn, interpersonal skills, that you are humble, and that you don't hoard knowledge, that you're approachable, emotionally intelligent. And these are just some of the skills you need in a team. You need to be a team player, before you can even be a team leader, before you can improve on your leadership skills. So if you think that that is the case, then I would advise that you probably look inwards and see if there's probably something that you can improve on. And I'm sure there will be something you need to improve on. Thank you.
Thank you so much for that succinct and brilliant response. So, Efosa, somebody here is commending you. She said your experience is inspiring. Thank you for sharing. And they would like to reach you privately with regards to the big business workshop. I think they're mentioning Daystar. So whoever it is, maybe you should just send a private chat to her right now so that she can easily access you. Let's see, Ukma, we would like for you to please indulge us one more time with one more question. Somebody's asking about what advice do you have for older lawyers who are just starting out in the profession on how to excel in the profession? And the person said, when I say older, I mean in their 40s. So people in their 40s that just start on the profession, what to advise for them to excel in the profession?
You must put your pride aside and your ego. That's the starting point. Because what you want to learn may be in the hand of someone that you're old enough to parent. But a lot will depend on your focus. It's your focus that you are here to learn. If your focus is that you are here to learn, put your pride aside and bury your head and be ready to learn. You get some insults along the way, hey, but it doesn't stick. Because if you are coming to the profession, and a lot will depend, are you coming into is it the litigation space you're coming into? Is it the corporate space? Whatever space. I remember I started practice outside Lagos. By the time we were relocating, coming back to Lagos as a family, I had 2 babies, 2 children, a 2-year-old and a 9-month-old. And I knew that there's no way I would leave my babies with nanny and be going from mainland to island to go and work. I won't focus. I am too much of, when my children are very young, they are my whole life. So I said, let me go and learn tailoring so I can do something. I must be busy. I can't just sit around twiddling my thumbs. So I went to a lady who had a big tailoring establishment. So when I got there, I didn't tell them I was a lawyer. So I would run errands for the tailors. I had 2 degrees, a first degree in French and a degree in law at this time.
Wow.
I would run errands for them. Then one day a judge came to have a dress made. I said, my learned friend, what are you doing here? This man has blown my cover. And they all knew she was a judge. So for her to say my learned friend, that means she knows I'm a lawyer. Madam, you're a lawyer, you're a lawyer. You didn't tell us. I said, if I told you I was a lawyer, will you teach me work? So I didn't go there. If I went there, lawyer, they would treat me like madam. I wouldn't learn anything. So use my personal experience to learn that you must put your ego and your pride aside. I am 40 years old. Put your age and all you have aside and focus on what you want to learn. Because out of the mouths of babes will come words of wisdom. What you want to learn may be in the mouth of a baby. But if that's what you want to learn, that baby will not yield it if you are putting ego and pride ahead. And once you've gotten what you want to learn, hey, off you go. And luckily, because you are mature, you will learn faster. You have more experience. So your experience will help you learn faster, and you learn faster because you know the right questions to ask because of your experience. So your learning curve may not be as pronounced. But to learn at all, you need to put your pride aside.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much, Ma. So final questions from Monica Akinwumi. She wants to know, I'll give this to Mr. Fosa. She wants to know how to handle the issue of discrimination faced by women seeking jobs or roles in the state where they are married into, being asked to return to their state of origin. And then when they go to their state of origin, they are told to go back to where they were married from. So I would, any of the panelists can weigh in on this. I would really like to hear Lennox's perspective on this as well, but I think let's give Mr. Fosa the floor to your perspective on this. So, what is a prevailing situation?
Yes, even while I was speaking, I spoke about it, that I also faced something similar as well. But for me, I always just say, they say you can't force an employer to employ you. So it's basically an advocacy that we as women should take charge of, ensuring that discrimination in the workplace, discrimination even at the point of employment, it becomes a thing of the past. I know that even that employer would dare not do that if it was in a different climate outside Nigeria. You would not openly throw it at someone's face, or even ask certain questions that already questions or suggest discrimination. But culturally, we just have a way of accommodating all of these things. So I think it's high time we start speaking up about it, and as much as we can, reprimand those who, try to suggest or do these things with the mindset that it doesn't have consequences. So I think it's an advocacy for us all in each of our little communities, no matter where we work or no matter where we serve as leaders.
Thank you so much for that. Thanks for that response. It's all in our hands, and at the end of the day,
Yes.
make that change happen. So, Mr. Mtokwe, in like a minute, can you just give your own perspective on this issue as well?
Okay, thank you. I was actually hoping to hear what Marlene Silk was going to say, because when she was talking about Ogun State, I recall that she said, oh, she had some affiliation with Ogun. So I'm thinking that possibly it was
I
some
might have
marriage
to,
affiliation.
round up
Yeah.
on this because
Yes.
she was in public service, but I
Exactly.
from the
But I know
workplace.
that there's a lacuna in the constitution on the state of origin for women. So as far as I'm concerned, I'm from both Osun State and Ogun State. I'm from Osun State by birth, and I'm from Ogun State by marriage. And I also know about many women who have gone on to get political appointments in their husband's state of origin as well, and some from their state of origin. So I believe it's either or both ways. So I would like to hear what Marlene Silk will say about that. I have a feeling that her husband is from Ogun State. Thank you.
No, her husband is actually from Ondo State.
Oh, interesting.
Oh, so what's the connection?
Let's see if I may,
Yeah.
before you mention this,
Yeah.
this thing it goes from the basic from the lowest cadre to the highest. So my mom is a retired teacher. When she was in service, a colleague of hers, was elevated, or like say promoted to, headmistress. That takes like after so many years in service. And she's Yoruba by birth. She's a Yoruba woman, but she married to an Edo man, just like I am. And I don't know, maybe it was the love or the whatever, she took in the man's state of origin and she changed her own state of origin to the man's state of origin. And unfortunately, she was working in the West, in Lagos State. And when it was time for her to promote, she was actually promoted. And by the time she didn't get a letter, and they demoted her and said, no, you are from Edo State. So these are real issues that we've also heard stories, the popular woman, former ambassador, who was supposed to get a role, and because she wasn't from, people kept saying, oh no, I don't want to mention names, they are not your husband's state. And so which is it, ma? I would really love to hear. I wanted you to wrap it up for us.
I don't know which it is. And you see, they say authorities, in case whatever is precedent for facts with similar circumstances or similar facts. I honestly don't know. Yes, we have become victims of circumstance, and I'm wondering why your mother would, maybe it's love, leave and say she's from Edo State. She's not from Edo State now. She married from Edo State.
But it's origin, it's where you are from as a woman being.
Exactly. And wow, I mean, she's already given up her father's name and taking his name. But I mean, if Edo State had been what paid, we would not be saying that right now. So honestly, I don't know. I really don't know. This thing is a problem. But I am aware that this happens in judiciary. So if, for instance, you are aiming to be a judge and say you are from Lagos, but you now live with your husband in Benue State, if you want to become a judge in Lagos, you need to come and start practicing in Lagos so that the judges in Lagos will know you. So I'm speaking exclusively to judicial appointments, for instance, now. Because I was on the Judicial Service Commission in Ogun State, where, we had, we got a lot of requests from lawyers who are from Ogun State, but practicing in Lagos. The first line of filter is the judges in the state need to recommend you. If they don't see you, they don't know you, can you blame them for not recommending you? They're going to recommend the people that we know. And the stream into the judiciary, there are three streams. There's magistracy, there's the Ministry of Justice, and public sector, private practice. To my mind, the judiciary enjoys advantage because they are the ones that the CJCs, they are the ones that can farm themselves to the CJ. So they made their interest known. So they already have that advantage. So you who are in private practice and you want to go to the judiciary in your state, you would do well to make sure that you have briefs. You do well to make sure that you argue cases in the state where you want to be appointed a judge, so that they will know that. So even if it's your husband's state, let them know you there. And if you are known to be good, there's something to be said. At least there will be merit. So there's really no silver bullets to resolving this conundrum. There's really no silver bullets. But you know, excellence will always speak. Yes. Excellence will always speak. So just try to be the best that you are. And if we all try to be the best that we are, even the country would be a better place. Some of us want to have our cake and eat it, you know.
Thank you so much. So it all still goes back to competence and also being strategic. If you know you want something, be known in that place.
Exactly. Speak to those who have gotten there. I want this thing. How do I? And you start. It's a long term. It's a marathon, like the other lady said, not a sprint. You plan. You must be strategic. And if your state doesn't work, try Federal High Court. Federal High Court for your state or your husband's state. Look at it. Federal High Court, okay, where would there be a vacancy? For which state would there be a vacancy? Is this for my state or my husband's state? And aim for it. Let the judges in the Federal High Court start to know you. Then have a chat with a few of them. And once they carry you on their back, they will back you in. But you have to be good. Nobody can argue against excellence. Even when they look at quota system and they see high score. I've seen a case where a judge was appointed. They said he comes from the same local government as the one who is already a judge. And they were going to mark him down. Meanwhile, he scored the best. And many senior lawyers got up and said, you can't take away merits because of local government. Are you going to leave merit because of local government? No, he has to be taken. And they took him. So once excellence, you can, even the Bible says, see a man who is diligent in his way, such men shall stand before kings and not mean men. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Leonard Silk. I just like how realistic you are about it, because it's not up to us to be wise. Yeah. And as women, some of people like me that married into another tribe, entirely. Let's try and navigate the best of both worlds. Let's see if there's an opportunity for us there. You know,
absolutely. Well, even the Bible says, be wise as as cunning as a serpent, as
gentle as a dove.
Yes.
Help us to work out
wisdom. When they say when God said to Saul to go and anoint David, to go and anoint David, Saul told God that if I go and anoint David to be king, what will I tell
Father?
Yeah, what's the name of that king?
Saul.
What will I tell when God told Nathan Samuel to go and anoint David? He said, what will I tell Saul that I'm going to do? He said, tell him that you are going to offer a sacrifice to me. Are we going to say God told him to lie? God taught him to deploy wisdom.
So wisdom and competence, excellence, you'll be just fine. Eventually.
Eventually. It's going to be a rough, tough road, but you get there. You'll get there. Because God relates on somebody's heart that, somebody that scored this kind of boy, no.
And I remember the example I gave of former ambassador when there was an uproar about the issue with her husband's origin. She eventually got that ambassadorial role eventually because of her competence. Absolutely. And she did a great job. She was great at the job. So like Foster also said, give it time. Give it time. Yeah. She will also learn patience in this journey. I think it's very important. This has been an amazing, use of our time. It's been a long time. We've overshot our time, but it's been worth it. And that's why we see almost all our participants still on the call. And, you can even see from the chat box that people are, pouring out encomiums for our speakers. So far, we've had this range of knowledge. Started with the lovely Ms. Temitope Azan, who has made us understand, how she started with wisdom talk, understanding how to be humble in a new space, understanding how to navigate the corporate space, knowing that it's different from the law firms, and finding a way to just be the best at what you are while still applying wisdom, in that corporate space. And then we moved on to the very amazing Leonard Silk, who gave us so much. She came with the songs, she came with the proverbs, she even gave us some small Bible study just now. Kind of really a quiz just now, you notice. She gave us so much, to go home with: humility, leadership, servant leadership, competent, read, so much. I mean, it can go on. And then the lovely Miss Efosa Iwere, you know, who was all about the soft life, and she's still putting, you know, our passion, our zeal for the practice as a way to get into that soft life. And I believe she's definitely, you know, right there. She's made us understand that it's a waiting game. You have to be patient. You have to pay your dues. Like most of the speakers have been saying, you have to give it time. And this has been amazing. And I want to say a very big thank you as I bow out gracefully for my partner to, you know, wrap up today's session with a vote of thanks. Thank you all so very much. Thank you to our speakers. I'm so grateful. We are very grateful for Sunesis DLP for your time. Put you over to you.
I'll start with Leonard Silk. Leonard Silk, thank you so much, Ma. Thank you so much for your words of wisdom. Thank you for blessing us with your presence, with your time. You have had such a busy day, but you still took the time out to stay up until the end of this webinar. Thank you. And really and truly, this is what we hope to achieve with the Law Practice Series. We just want to talk. It's nothing technical. It's just for people to come and pick these lessons, and you'd be surprised at how many lives can be transformed from just listening to the words of wisdom that you have all given to us today and the great insights that we've all been able to pick from. So thank you so much, Leonard Silk. Thank you, Mrs. Temitope Hassan. Thank you so much. I met Ms. Hassan at the Law Week of MBA Lagos. So for some of you who do not really get involved in professional associations, professional activities, I keep on saying you're missing out. You get to make great connections at, when you associate. And she's just been a blessing since then, and she's going to do even much more. Thank you so much for enlightening us and giving us the in-house perspective. Thank you so much for that. And our dear friend, Efosa is a mentor to us. She's within our demographic, but she's a mentor to us. We learned so much from her. She inspires us. And that was why she came to mind as we're trying to put this panel together, in her navigation of her practice of law and navigation of leadership in various organizations. So thank you to our esteemed attendees who have been here since 3 o'clock. We are what, like 1 hour over time? But I mean, you can see why we are 1 hour over time. There was no way to abridge this. We just had to soak in everything that all our panelists had to say. So thank you so much for giving us your time. I mean, you can imagine if we didn't have anyone to talk to or share all these insightful nuggets with. So thank you for staying, and we hope that you would take the charge that our panelists have given to us and implement all those in your daily lives. For the men on this call, on this webinar, understand the female perspective and continue to be he for she's and champion the cause of women. Thank you so much to our staff at Sunesis DLP who help us put this together. And thank you so much to everyone. Thank you to my partner, Toyin Asada. You're the best. And I'm grateful for this partnership that we have, and able to do things together and collaborate better to get better results. So thank you so much to everyone, and have a good evening. I hope you all commute home safely and enjoy the rest of your week. Mrs. Yewande Dejiamotayo, thank you, ma'am. You're always supporting us. Thank you so much for always being there. Yes. Thank you, ma'am. And we should all go and accelerate action in our own little or big ways. Thank you, everyone, and have a good evening.
Yeah, and good luck, everyone.
Bye. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you. Thank you, ma.
Thank you.
Thank you. So thank you so much to Halima. Halima is always, she's our publicity. Halima can be responsible for bringing, you can see that different people from different locations have been joining. Ogun State, Port Harcourt is from Halima's publications. Thank you so much, Halima, for always being so hands-on. to push our materials and create publicity for what we are doing. Thank you so much. We appreciate you. Abuja is here. Susan, you've really kept the chat box buzzing. Thank you for your comments. Thank you for encouraging the panelists. Thank you for everything. Thank you, everyone. Thank you, thank you. Thank you, Bayo. Thank you, Madam Olayemi. I'm 49 years old who went to read law. You've got this, ma. You've got this. You've got this. I can assure you, you've got this. Just push on. Push on. You've got this. Don't think about your age. I have classmates. I have people who went to law school with me. I have people who went to law school with me and they're probably in their 60s and they're practicing. So you're still quite young, ma'am. So you've got this. Push through. Thank you. Thank you, everyone. And bye.